May be talking Iraq today, taking the spotlight off of his ties to the Reverend Wright controversy. But what is the verdict in the media? Is this thing actually going away? Well, joining us now, Fox News contributors Jane Hall and Juan Williams. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Okay,
Hi,
so Obama wanted this to be a rhetorical endpoint to the whole debate over Reverend Wright. The question is, was it? Before I have you answer that, let me show you just a sampling of the headlines we pulled today from various publications. If we can get on the screen. Look at this. First, Philadelphia Inquirer, Obama's brilliant speech. The Times, Obama's profile and courage. Los Angeles Times, Obama's Lincoln moment. But the National Review, an elegant farce. A columnist in the Washington Post calls it a speech that fell short, and then the Weekly Standard, Obama the ditherer. So I ask you, Jane, is it settled?
It's not settled. I think that the broadcast networks and the New York Times and Washington Post basically went with the headline he wanted, which is he was talking about race and calling for a discussion of race in a nuanced way. But I have to tell you that it depends a lot on how much those videos of Reverend Wright get replayed on cable. Cable commentators are continuing to say this questions his judgment. Why didn't he separate himself more? Why didn't he do it more in this speech? Why didn't he disavow him more than he did? And I think, unfortunately for Obama, this is not going away. I think that the video is so powerful. It's all over YouTube, that it's not going away as an issue, and if he's the nominee, it's going to be the subject of attack ads and attack rhetoric against him.
Do you think that's right, Juan? I mean, there were more than just those publications. The folks on TV, Chris Matthews calling it his Abe Lincoln moment, and on it went with some in the mainstream media rushing to say this is an end to it, this is the final pronouncement on race, and let's move on.
Well, it's very patronizing. You know, I mean, I think it's insulting. In some level, this is a man who tried his best to deal with the subject, but the idea, as the New York Times said, that he took it to another level instead of simply dealing with Reverend Wright is also open to interpretation as diversionary and avoiding the real subject on the table. What Jane said bears repeating, which is that the mainstream media, not only in the headlines today, but they were slow in covering the story in the first place. This story got fire basically because of cable playing the videos, and then the internet playing the videos, and then the bloggers talking about this, and it reached such a point, a boiling point, that the mainstream media had no choice. The New York Times and Washington Post didn't put the story on page 1 until this week, and then the Washington Post put it out there with a story that said, here's the reaction from Reverend Wright's church. Well, gee, that's an interesting angle when, in fact, it's the people who are taking offense are everywhere but Reverend Wright's church. And,
the other thing that was out there today, both on the blogs and on talk radio and even on TV, was some allegations that Obama seemed hypocritical yesterday because of previous comments he made about Don Imus. Here's a sampling from The View, and then I want to get your reaction.
When Don Imus uttered those racial tones and words that he did, Senator Obama was one of the first to call for his resignation. He said he should step down. Hey, let me finish. And he said, why should I hurry up?
It's only a 1-hour show. We all have to talk.
That's unfair. That is unfair. He said there's nobody on my staff who would still be working for me if they made a comment like that and about anybody of any ethnic group. And then he refused to appear on Don Imus's show. He said, I'll never go on. But he returned to this church time and time again.
What about it? Let me start with you, Juan. Does it show hypocrisy on the part of Obama?
Well, hypocrisy is pretty strong, Megan, but I think that it bears explaining. Yesterday, he gives this big speech. The idea is to deal with this controversy, and that's the principal point. Why does he keep going back to this church? Why does he sit in the pews, even as he says in the speech, he realizes that Reverend Wright's language is divisive and hateful and wrong. He says absolutely wrong. So why is this man who tells us he has such judgment just sitting there? I mean, this story is not going away. It's not going away in Pennsylvania, not going away in North Carolina, not going away in Indiana, which is where he's going to be running.
Jane, what about it? You watched Joy Behar couldn't even stand to listen to Obama or to Elizabeth Hasselbeck making the point today.
I think that it is sad that a man who tried to transcend race is being dragged into this. I do think that's regrettable, and I don't think he started this conversation, but I do believe that the story is not going away. I have talked to people who are deeply upset when they see this video. Now, it may not be representative, but I don't think that until he really talks about how he feels about the specific video and the comments about AIDS being caused by injecting the black population and 9/11 being the chickens coming home to roost, he has got to deal with it. I mean, it's ugly as hell, but I just feel that he tried to thread the needle so carefully. Obviously, people who go to the black churches feel that they are entitled to many of the opinions that are stated in the black churches, but we aren't really having a conversation about the specific remarks that are all over the net.
Yeah, well, the bottom line for now is it does not appear to be settled yet. Jane Hall, Juan Williams, thanks so much for being here.
All right, Megan,
welcome,
he is the silent supporter. Reverend Al Sharpton saying that he backs Obama, but will not officially endorse the